Okay, and 2.6 mil last December with 800K profit, right?
Nah, it's almost, no, I think it's like close to 1 mil profit. Yeah. It sounds crazy though, yeah. But after when I was met this guy, I was only doing like 100K a month. And I was like, yo, what the fuck? Like, because I was meeting Gem and stuff like that. It was
Yeah.
crazy.
What's good, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are watching me, my name is Akaash, back on in e-commerce, running one of the biggest CRO agencies. I'm here with Akaash. Welcome to the interview, brother. Good to have you. I met this guy last year in May in Miami. He's doing e-commerce. He's in the wellness niche. We're going to talk about the store a bit later. Before we get started, really quick intro from my side, and then I'm gonna give him the show and let him explain everything in depth. I met this guy in Miami in May. This is what, like 9 months ago, 8 months ago, something? He was doing 150K in revenue in May.
Yeah.
Like 150-ish?
150K. Yeah.
150K-ish. And now he nearly did 1 million in profit last month. He scaled like crazy while starting the brand in February. So this is an insane growth. This is why I'm really looking forward to having you on the channel, bro. So let's get right into it. You can give like your whole background story, how you got started with e-com, how you got started with the brand, and how you scaled it that fucking quickly.
Yeah, I'll give him my little pitch. But yeah, basically my name is Akaash. Got into e-commerce around 2020 during the pandemic, like a lot of people. Played around with it a little bit, made some money here, lost some money. And then this brand that Carl's talking about, I launched it in February of 2022. And since then, we basically scaled it to the point where we did like 10 million last year. So it's been pretty crazy, a crazy run. And met Carl in Miami last year, and we're back in Miami now. It's been a great friendship and a great partnership. So excited to
what a growth, bro! 8 figures first year, guys.
Can't even
8 figures.
Can't even believe it.
That's crazy. Let's dive into that. So. How long was the whole process of you kind of deciding for a niche, finding the product, getting started and getting everything rolling to like the first quick scale? And then also what I would love to focus on is how are you able to scale so quickly? Because other people, they take 3, 4, 5 years to hit 8 figures. Like that's crazy.
Yeah. I think, so basically coming into this brand, I was struggling with like an old brand where I was selling basically a commodity product. There's really no advantage, like no edge, basically. Struggling with that, made a little bit of money here and there, and I really wanted to create like a brand or create like, find a product that, there's like a real mission behind, like a real purpose behind it. One that I felt didn't exist on the market and that I could tap into and hopefully succeed with, and that's what happened. But basically, it took maybe 2 to 3 months to kind of figure out what I wanted the brand to be. And sort out the supplier situation, find the products. Finding the product wasn't too hard, but for me personally, I focus on the problems. So once you start identifying the problems that people face, it gets really easy to identify the solutions that you can provide them. A lot of people get stuck into the winning product, like the winning product. What's it called?
Find a winning product.
Let me restart it. Yeah. So they get stuck into like the winning product fallacy, where there's like one golden product that will take you to new heights or whatever. Me personally, I don't believe in that. I believe that there are core desires in the market that people, will always resonate with. And you need to just find products that fulfill any one of those desires, right? And there's so many desires that people have. You just need to find a product that taps into that and deliver it to them in a way where, they want to purchase your product, basically. So that was kind of like the philosophy behind it. Started testing it a little bit in January of 2022. Found something working, and then we had like our first official launch in February of 2022. Ever since then, we've been scaling it. And in terms of scale, I think the number one thing that you should focus on is your gross margin. So a lot of people want to scale with like terrible gross margins, and that just leaves no room for error, right? You're gonna have lows, you're gonna have highs. So you want to have enough gross margin to just pad your profit, basically. So that gives you the ability to scale up your ads really quickly, to fend off from competitors, but also gives you the ability to work out special agreements with your suppliers because you are doing such volume, right? And it just overall gives you a lot more advantage and a lot of room to work with rather than scaling slow, not having enough profit on the front end. That would really just mess up your business. And yeah, pretty much that's it. I think having insane gross margins as well as a great creative strategy will just take your business to the next level. And then if you couple that with a solid funnel, just golden.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I liked it a lot. You gave
Yeah.
like so many golden nuggets in there.
Yeah.
What I really liked you talking about are two things. First of all, it's not about finding a winning product. It's about finding a need in the market and then putting and positioning the product in there, right?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
really hitting their pain points and their beliefs and desires and then selling them the product. And that's how you can scale. I also am convinced that a lot of people get lost in the process
Yeah.
of finding the one winning product.
Right.
Right?
Right.
The second thing that I really liked, and another friend of mine is talking about this a lot, Paul Nicholas from Australia.
Oh, right.
He did like 25, 30 million sales total.
Damn.
Also crazy.
Damn, that's crazy.
And he's talking about this a lot. So he likes to go for 80% gross margin minimum.
Yeah,
What
80%.
would you say is like would you go with the same number?
80%. Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
I think that's the golden number. So basically, 5 times your purchase price. So if you're buying something for $10, sell it for 50. That'll give you a nice margin to work with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also the last thing you pointed out was that this gives you the cutting edge advantage over the competitors, right?
Yeah.
If you have an 80% gross margin,
Yeah.
you have a lower break-even ROAS, and
Right.
you're able to scale more aggressively.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Comparing to your competitors,
Yeah.
who have like a lower gross
Yeah.
margin and a higher break-even ROAS,
Yeah.
and they can spend less aggressively.
Yeah.
So I really like those.
Yeah.
So can you kind of take us through the journey? You started in February, you scaled it to like 150K in May. What happened after then? How were you able to scale to 2.6 million in December? There must have been like different points. You were talking about creative strategy,
Yeah.
we're talking about funnels. Take us kind of through the journey and then also what you learned throughout the journey. Maybe you can
Yeah, for
touch
sure.
on some of the things more in detail to also give them some golden nuggets to the audience, to everybody who's watching. Maybe some of the people at like 50, 100, 150K right now, and they think, oh, it would be a more slow and steady growth. But you show everyone
Yeah.
that this, like, you can grow this quickly, right?
Yeah, you can do whatever you set your mind to. That's like number one takeaway. But basically, my story, it feels like a long story, even though it was like 8 months. But it feels really long because it's a huge process of highs and lows. You're always gonna go through that. But basically, first month, actually, let's say even before first month, I'll start off with like a low, right? So basically, I ordered I always order my inventory in bulk. That's just the way I do things. I don't like to do the dropship model. But basically, I thought this product was gonna hit. We had like some good traction on TikTok. Seemed like everything was good. We had some sales. Launched ads, it didn't work, right? So it took me a long time to figure out the angles. So angles are extremely important. A lot of people might, especially with the winning product idea, you just run some ads, see if the product hits, and you just cancel the product. But the product might be good. You really have to focus a lot of time on figuring out what the buyer persona is, what angle you want to use in your marketing, and you couple that together, and you can create so many different creatives. And all it takes is that one creative to hit. So we had that creative hit in February, and first month we did extremely well. I think we hit about 80K with about 45% margins, which is insane. After that, we kept on scaling, just scaling a budget, doing a little bit of creative testing. But I think what really took it off for me is in May, I attended Geek Out Miami, right? I met Carl, I met Reynes, I met all the guys. And it was really eye-opening for me because prior to this, I had no friends in the e-commerce space. So it's like, it's pretty lonely. Like if anybody out there is just watching and you've never connected with other e-com guys, you'll know what I'm talking about. You just feel kind of like, you're just doing your own thing. You've seen some guys post up like crazy numbers, but you don't feel like you can achieve that. Maybe you feel like you don't, you lack certain skills or you lack what it takes to get there, but that's not it. I think what you have to do is you have to put yourself in a position where you can meet like-minded guys, see how they're thinking, see how they're working. And it just really opens your eyes to like a whole new world that you're not used to seeing. And that was it for me. So Geek Out Miami was huge. Shout out to Nick Shalko for throwing that together. That was really incredible. So after that, I went home and I was like, I can scale for sure. I can get to that next level. And pretty much, every month it was just aggressive scaling of ad budget, coupled with insane creative strategy, as well as the issue with scaling that not a lot of people talk about is that it's easy to just up the budget on ads. But the problem is the back end. Like, what are you doing about your products, your suppliers? How are you managing inventory? So it's really important that you work with your supplier. You tell them your projections. You tell them, what you're gonna do, and you treat it like a real business. And you allow them to provide you inventory maybe on net terms, or you work out some kind of deals to help you acquire inventory enough to scale, right? Because you need the inventory to scale. Otherwise, you're just not shipping product. Then you're gonna get a lot of bad reviews. The business is gonna crumble. So it's important to balance the two. But basically, after that, it was just a matter of increasing everything that we were doing. So increasing the ads, increasing the budgets, increasing purchase orders, And then, from there, it's like the rest is history, right? Yeah, that's it.
What I really liked about that, I always, you talk so much and there's so much value in that. So I just want to point it out for you listening.
Yeah,
I really always like to go through the golden nuggets again. So just to make sure that you catch them, right? So the main point for me was that like your network is your net worth, right?
Yeah,
It's so important
100%.
that you meet other people who are doing the same thing, who may be 1, 2, 3, 5, 10 steps ahead of you.
Yeah.
We show you that it's possible. It's so easy. Everybody's working online in our space, right? You're working from home, from your computer, maybe in your bed or something.
Exactly.
You don't need anybody. So that was the same for me. Like I went to so many events where
Yeah.
people were doing 2, 5, 10 times the amount of money that we did, and I was like mind blown.
Yeah, I remember hearing people that did like let's just say the numbers that I did or whatever. That was just like, whoa, what? Like how? How did you do it, right? And it's crazy to know that in 8 months it's possible. So yeah, it's definitely possible. But number one, network is key, man. Yeah, for sure.
And then the second thing was that you said it's so much about finding this one angle and really understanding the person that's buying. Again, we want to keep this brand secret for now because everybody knows how it is with e-com, with dropshipping. People love to rip it apart and steal it and everything. We don't want to go there, so we just keep it like this for now. Be happy with the screenshots we give to you as proof. But what you said about the angle. So, I mean, I know the angles and everything. Trying to not give it away, but it's a really unique angle. Think of it as not directly selling to the audience that you think you're selling to, but finding a way around it, right?
Yeah.
Maybe we'll lift it in like a year or so.
I can touch on that for sure.
Okay, sure.
No. So basically, you might think a product is designed for a specific person in mind, but just because a certain person is a user doesn't mean that they're a customer, right? So get a little bit creative. I think we'll leave it at that.
Yeah,
basically.
let's do it like that.
Yeah.
That should give you a good idea, right? And I really thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
And then what I also found was because we started working together like right after Miami, for us like the thing that really moved the needle was taking the angles and then fine-tuning the copywriting on the pages in the funnel.
Right.
Because we saw the angles that were killing it, and then as you said, like sometimes you may not, you may have a user, but the user isn't a customer. So what we did also in the copywriting is we focused on the customer and not directly on the user. And those were the craziest lifts, right? Those were the craziest changes.
Like fine tuning the funnel to be so congruent with the ads is what changed the game, right? So that's what it was.
And the last thing also is that you treat it as a business. You treat you have a sophisticated mindset. It's not like you have this drop shipping mindset of whatever, I'm ship some products from China. You're really about treating it as a business, understanding the unique economics, talking to your suppliers, really planning ahead and forecasting. So I really like that. I think that's also a huge game changer, and a lot of people do that.
I think so too. I think honestly, like if your gross margins are garbage, or even just product quality is garbage for some reason, like the business doesn't really have a purpose to exist, basically, right? So if you're not gonna make profit on the front end, I mean, you can do it. You can definitely do with back-end funnels, and there's a lot of brands that are profitable at that. But I feel like if you're starting a brand, you're bootstrapped, and you're not making profit on the front end, it's gonna be extremely, extremely tough for you to just, survive, basically. Especially because ad costs are rising, right? So it's extremely, you're just playing kind of like an uphill battle. That's what I like to call it. Yeah.
One thing I would love to share if you're comfortable with it is I like that because we talked about this like 1 or 2 months ago, right? I asked you about the vision and the next steps, and I always feel like you're 1, 2 steps ahead of the market, right? Like you're profitable with your front-end product and you scale it like crazy, but you're also already thinking about your customer base now and also what you can do with them. If you mind, please share what I mean.
Of course, yeah. I mean, like, so let's say, you guys get to the point where you successfully scale a product. You need to think about what you can offer your customers that are maybe related to the product that you already sell, or perhaps in slightly different verticals that are also kind of have some kind of similarities. Because if you can get somebody to buy your front-end product, and then maybe through email marketing or SMS marketing, you get them to buy another product from you, you unlock a whole, like another phase of profit that you would not have seen before, right? Another thing is, like, let's say your front-end product has like a 20% margin. So let's say on a $50 AOV, you're getting like $10 profit. What if you can give them a cross-sell or an upsell, a post-purchase that sells a product for like $20 profit? You've basically tripled your profit just by making one small tweak, just by adding one product that is extremely congruent with what you're already selling. And it just makes it like a no-brainer purchase for your customers. So that's what we're looking into. Like we're looking into, what new verticals we can attack to basically scale the brand bigger, but also to have, basically funnel in different customer types. right? You might get a specific demographic with one product, but a different demographic with another product, and they might have overlap as well. So doing that is probably what we're, our next steps are in terms of scaling for this year. So I really look forward to it. But yeah, that's pretty much it. You want to make sure your catalog is extremely, built out extremely carefully, and is basically designed for you to profit, right?
Yeah, I think the main strategy with this is like, once you really hit it with a product with one angle, one positioning, you want to keep the momentum going, right? You don't want to rely on just scaling this one product to the moon, right? You want to take the momentum, the customer bases, you got a lot of email addresses and people that like the product, like build on that, right?
Yeah. I mean, talk to your customers too, right? So like see what they want. Because there's a lot of products that they might want from you that you don't know about. Maybe because you're not in the demographic, maybe you're just not aware of it. So talk to your customers, see what they want, see what they're buying. Do a lot of market research, and then go from there.
Sweet. One last thing before we wrap it up. You talk with Sebastian too. Sebastian is sitting behind the camera. Go check out the video. We will link it in the description underneath below. They covered a whole video about creative testing, scaling, finding angles. And when I introduced Sebastian and Cash, how much were you doing then a month?
I think we're doing about 800.
Yeah, like 800K. And I was like texting him, and I was like, yo, when are you going to hit the million a month? And now you did like 2.6 million in December. It's crazy. If you mind sharing, touching that, just share like the main takeaways. And then for everybody that's interested, just go watch the full video, please, on Sebastian's channel.
For sure,
like after listening to it, it's packed with value.
Yeah, no, I'm super thankful that you connected me with Sebastian. Sebastian is like a killer in the industry. And working with him has been incredible. His team is extremely knowledgeable, and the main takeaways that we got from that is it's not so much with the actual creative itself, but the system. Like the systems and the processes are extremely important, and they're often overlooked by beginners. I feel like there's not a lot of info on the web about that stuff. I feel like it's a little bit more high level, and some things that you can only get by networking with the highest of the highest caliber people in the space. So from him, I was able to get a content system that enabled us to test creatives at a much faster rate, be a lot more efficient, but also produce high quality creatives that allowed us to scale in Q4. I think without that system, we definitely would not have been able to crack those creatives, those key winning creatives that really took us to the next level. Furthermore, just in terms of like hiring, finding talent, like these are things that we kind of often overlook as beginners. But working with him has just helped us get to the next level.
So yeah. And I keep saying this, you gotta keep testing creatives, keep testing the pages, keep testing the funnels, the emails, everything that you're doing in business. You gotta keep iterating to keep at the side, guys, and really crush it. Like this is the main differentiator that we see across the successful businesses like you run, bro.
Yeah, test everything. Test everything.
Sweet. Thank you so much for jumping on.
Of course, bro.